What's good, everyone? It's Matty G here with you for The Crossover, our weekly show to finish your week strongly on your Sundays in NBA fantasy action, but also get you primed for the week ahead. We'll break down all the injury news, the latest, who to stream, who not to stream, what waiver targets you might have, and get you sorted for an absolutely big week 4 of action, a somewhat plateaued action week. We'll have a look at that one. We'll discuss that more and the latest in the NBA up after this.
You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Look, they do say that love is a battlefield, and so is the NBA, because your love for it is probably running rampant on your fantasy rise. If you've got an IR spot, you probably need 2 IR spots. There are so many guys out with injuries in the NBA, it's ridiculous. I said it last week, and they continue to stockpile. And so that is performing pretty much is going to take center stage very, very soon. But I guess the big one is this one. Yeah, look, the biggest news of the day, unfortunately, is Kelly Oubre being hit by a car when out for a walk, who was going to miss significant time this season. That's a shame for him. He's going to be out for at least 25, 30 games, one would think, but he'll be back later in the season. Look, he was starting to look, I'm not going to besmirch the guy. He just got hit by a car, but he was tapering off from that really hot start where Tsunami Papi was a must roster guy. His inefficiencies had crept in. Look, he is who he is at the end of the day. He's an elite scorer, doesn't offer you much outside of that. And the flashes were really, really nice. So I think the thing that we need to look at here is who's going to benefit the most. Luckily, they have no shortage of weapons they can roll out there now after the James Harden trade. I would expect to see possibly, look, Tobias Harris has been steady as a rock. Houses Harris has been an absolute rock in that organization. Embiid is playing again at an MVP caliber. Maxey, insane. DeAnthony Melton, check your leagues. He has been dropped in a lot of leagues because of his inefficiencies. I picked him up recently when he was trending and then he didn't play well. Guys are always in fantasy keen to drop a guy who's not performing well. And in fact, he's only rostered in 59% of Yahoo leagues. Now, again, 33% from the field, 10% from the field, woeful. But before that, he was 500, 300, 160, 444. DeAnthony Melton has been dropped in a lot of leagues. Now, a lot of the burden is going to be on the starting 5 for this team without Kelly Oubre there. He'd slotted into that spot. They've got other guys there now. They've got Batum. They've got Rocco. They've got Morris they can roll out. They're not short of it. They've been playing incredibly well, the Philadelphia 76ers. There's no need to stress on what they're doing and not doing. But there was some flashes that, like the 9 field goal attempts is nice. The 2 threes is nice. But Melton does offer you a very solid fantasy game. He's been a permanent stud for a long time, and he's been slow this season. Like, he's been slow. But what he gives you is valuable, especially if his free throw percentage, which has been crap the last couple games, comes back up. Look, he got 500, 0 from 2, and 500. But Melton is worth an ad, especially now. I think the emphasis on him, he's going to get a lot of open looks. He will play better. He is better than this. The 3 steals are nice. He's stolen the ball in every game, so the steals that he gets in is nice. The assists have been there. The rebounds, he chips in across the board. Melton's efficiencies could continue. Let's watch their next game and see who gets the minutes for Kelly Oubre. Is it going to be the hero returned in Robert Covington and he can get some value out? Just let's be, does Paul Reed slot into the starting lineup of all things? Like, we don't know what's going to happen yet. The 76ers obviously have to take a hot second, and it's just focusing on Oubre, and prayers out to him for a very speedy recovery here. But Kelly Oubre is a big name to watch, and just how that rotation shapes out now in Philadelphia, because I'm thinking that you're going to see a little bit more from Anthony Melton becoming more efficiency, taking on in that starting lineup. He hasn't been good, and he's available in 40% of Yahoo leagues. He's better than that. In a 14-team league, you absolutely have to smash that. 100% he's an ad in a 14-team league because he'll get better. And the second that he puts it together and he becomes consistent, well, you're going to miss out. You can bench him if you don't want to tank your field goal percentage. If you need some peripheral stats, if you need those steals in a tight week, roll him out there. Just have a look. If you're in a 14-team league, your waiver wire is going to be thin. How many starting 5 guys that offer you that range of statistics are you going to find out there? Not a lot. He is one to watch in the shakeout of this one. But because the injuries have been thick and fast, I guess it's time to do a little bit of a whip around the league, a bit of an injury update to see how that's going to impact this week of NBA action. Yeah, and there's a lot of leg problems going around the NBA. Let's start with that one. Look, in the Atlanta Hawks, we'll go through the teams. I'll whip through them really quickly. That way we can see who's going to be out. We can establish that now, and we can look for our waiver targets and talk about games, what day games are on, who are we looking at for those games, and why we're looking at them. And why we look at a lot of guys is because of injuries on teams and when they're expected to return. So for Atlanta this week, Kobe Buffkin is still out till about the 17th, 18th of November. According to team listings, no real impact there. Boston Celtics, no one there to really worry about right now. In fact, the Celtics are flying. They are having an incredibly good season, and that's going to continue. Another smackingly good performance today. Brooklyn, on the other hand, welcome return for Cam Johnson. He only put in 11 points the other day. Not really great efficiency off the board, but he's easing himself back in with 25 minutes on his restrictions to play. Cam Thomas, the other Cam, the one that was the most elite scorer in NBA history, apparently, to start the season. Yep, he's out still. So what do we look at there? We look at him being out and what opportunities it's going to present for the Brooklyn Nets. So he's still out right there. Ben Simmons is out. Now, he is listed as day-to-day with his injuries. Look, it's the hip again. I wouldn't be surprised if they do sit him in the next one. He's out until at least the 14th, so you can expect him maybe to miss the first game of the week. The big news there is Nick Claxton in Brooklyn is expected to return, which means other guys who are in there getting those minutes will not be getting those same minutes. We'll talk about those up there because Claxton was dropped in a lot of leagues. In fact, Claxton, if you take a little quick look in some Yahoo leagues, because he's been out for so long, he was actually negatively dropped. And I was surprised. I was actually surprised to see him go down 2% in Yahoo. Some people have just like, they haven't held on long enough. You should have held on long enough. And you should have picked up, if Nick Claxton exists on your waiver wire, I can only imagine this being the case in a 10-team league. Like, surely he doesn't exist in a 16-team league or a 14-team league. There is no chance on God's green earth. I should go into one of my leagues like that and have a look and see, because if he is out there right now and Nick Claxton is on your waiver wire, just do a check, because people forget about, I talked about this the other day, people forget about injured guys and they write them off. Don't forget about Nick Claxton. The fact that he is available in any league means that it's a 10-man league most likely, and no one wants that. So who are you rolling out there? Is there only one center spot? And there should be. If you're in a 10-man league and you have a crappy center, someone that you've picked in, maybe like a Valanciunas. He's been doing okay here and there. You picked him up. Wendell Carter Jr. went down. He was your guy. You've got to throw him out to the Wolves because he's out for another 2 to 3 weeks. You're right in Val. We'll drop Val and get Claxton back in your lineup. Maybe you got to miss half the week. Maybe you miss like this week and you take it. But long term, Nick Claxton is a top 50 guy. And if he's on your waiver wire in a 10-man league, just run out there and get him, because very, very soon we're going to see guys like Day'Ron Sharpe not get any minutes, and these other fellas that have been getting out there, the Royce O'Neal and DFS minutes in Brooklyn, they're all going to change very, very quickly. So keep your eyes on what happens there. Other news, Charlotte. Now, the big one here, it's not really injury news. It's Miles Bridges is able to return from Friday pending any more action about the suspension. So it's not injury news for me, but for me, it's an important thing to keep my eye on that radar, because PJ Washington has looked very good and he will probably take one of the biggest hits. Now, by my thinking, I'm thinking they're going to ease him back in. I don't expect him to be a starting 5 player on the first game that he's back. They'll put him off the bench. He hasn't played in over a year. He's got to be match fit. He's been practicing with the team, blah, blah, blah. They're going to just toe this line. Regardless, the guy's a dick. Like, what he's done is wrong. Like, let's not mess around with it. But if he's on your roster, you're going to have to bear with the minutes to be eased back in, and he goes from there, especially because Cody Martin, he's still out to the 14th. Now, they play on Tuesday in the NBA. Gordon Hayward, Book Night, is out. Rozier is still out, and they're all game time decisions around that time, especially Hayward. So if Gordon, who we know can be occasionally just deciding to be injured for an extended period of time, goes down, just look around your league and check him out to see if he's around. Alex Caruso, game time decision. Paddy Williams, and obviously Dalen Terry, one of the Terrys that won't see many minutes this season, are all out currently. So he's got a sprained toe, expected to be back questionable for Sunday's game, Alex Caruso. Now, if he doesn't play Sunday's game, just be conscious to start the week off with the Bulls do run into to start the week on the Monday. So it's a back-to-back set for Caruso. Not sure he'll play on that next game. Jarrett Allen is still on a minutes restriction with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Isaac Okoro is expected out with his knee injury. So Sam Merrill, Ty Jerome. Maxi Kleber moving into the Dallas Mavericks is out until at least the 25th of November. So we expect that to be out. Now, in his stead, we'll talk about one of the waiver pickups there and some of the guys we'll target later on. Just keep your eyes on Derrick Jones Jr. Denver, Jamal Murray continues to be out. In Detroit, there was big news with his ankle. Now, his day-to-day, Duran's copped a couple of hits. I don't know if the Pistons are going to run him back out there. But Jalen Duren, he left the game with the Sixers with the ankle injury. Alec Burks and Jaden Ivey are both questionable as well. And Joe Harris has a sprained AC joint. In Detroit, with Isaiah Livers also out until the 21st, and Bojan Bogdanovic is expected still out with his calf muscle until the 25th of November, giving you those additional minutes to guys like Sasa, who's been performing incredibly well, and Killian Hayes, who is just killing it Hayes right now. He's killing it Hayes. He has been incredible. I was very unsure of what was going to happen with him in Detroit this season. Look, to be fair, the guy partly saved my season last year when Cade went down. I've got nothing but respect. He managed to buoy me at times, though he killed me in percentages. If he was putting together what he'd put together in the last 5 games, now I've seen this from Killian Hayes before. There'll be 5 games where I think the man is unstoppable. He'll be just all over the place, doing absolutely everything, contributing across the board, and then he won't be. Just ride it while you can, because he's only rostered in 53% of Yahoo leagues right now, and he is absolutely worth the spot on your roster. With these injuries, with the minutes that he is getting, 39 minutes in his last game. Huge. 29, 34, 34, 39, 26. This is good minutes. And Killian Hayes right now is someone to keep your eye on with all these injuries that have spotted up in Detroit. On to our next game. Really nothing to talk about with Golden State. They're healthy. Armin Thompson is out in Houston for the next little while, where in Indiana, Jalen Smith and Aaron Naismith are both game time decisions moving ahead into the games this week. The Clippers, it's funny to see a Clippers update that doesn't have Paul George or Kawhi Leonard on it almost every other single day, but only Mason Plumlee is really out there. He is down with the knee injury, giving more minutes to the center. Zubac has been playing very well there, so they've ridden him a little bit more, and Brandon Boston Jr. is out with quadriceps. This is an interesting one. The Lakers, off that huge win against Phoenix the other day, a great win actually for the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James is questionable for Sunday's game. Sunday's game is against the Portland Trail Blazers, who definitively have sucked and who are under their own injury cloud right now. Now, he's listed as questionable. I don't know if we see LeBron James in this game to rest him for the week that is ahead. It's LeBron James. We can do the minutes restrictions, but they've got a 4-game week about to play. They're on the tail end of this trip. For me, they've got this game is against the Trailblazers. Now, they need to win because the Lakers haven't been – look, they don't need to win. They'll probably still make the play-in or top 6 and whatever. But they do want to put a good record into start because they don't want to be in the position they were last year. He might come out and play, see how he goes, and then it might just be sore and LeBron will go off the court, giving value to guys like Rui Hachimura and Christian Wood, who stepped in admirably the other day, Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince. All these guys are readily available on waiver wires. So very curious to see that last-minute decision with LeBron. Vanderbilt is still out with the heel, hasn't played this season, apparently returning this week. Jackson Hayes and Anthony Davis are also game-time decisions. I would expect that maybe Davis plays and LeBron doesn't after that knee lock, that calf and shin damage, like the entanglement, the knock from Kevin Durant the other day. Gabe Vincent also out, and Jalen Hood-Schifino until the 25th. Moving on to the Grizzlies, Jake LaRavia, Xavier Tillman are both game time decisions, whereas Derrick Rose is expected back from his knee injury this week to give a bit more push and zhizh We can zhuzh it with some Derrick Rose. Look, we all want to see Derrick Rose play for the Grizzlies because we don't like watching Marcus Smart a lot lately. He's just looked absolutely average and shithouse, as have the Memphis Grizzlies. And I wish Matty O'Brien could hear me on that one. Ripping around to Miami. Look, it's personal reasons. Butler's out. Caleb Martin is out as well. They're going to be back hopefully for this week, but the ankle injury to Tyler Hero that he has sustained will keep him out for this week of action. So this is someone we just bench or gets that spot or that designation in there. Next news for the Milwaukee Bucks, Damian Lillard is still a game time decision with his calf strain, as too is Jay Crowder. Into the Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid are both game time decisions. Jordan McLaughlin is out until December, and Jalen Clark, we don't really need to worry about. He is out until the 1st of January as well. The New Orleans Pelicans. Now, they have a big week ahead, so what can we expect from the New Orleans Pelicans? They have this week going over their roster. The Pels have 3 games this week. They're spaced out in a way that, look, we know that Jose Alvarado and CJ McCollum aren't back until later in November, for a couple more weeks there. So is Trey Murphy. He is edging closer to a return. Now, keep your eye on Trey Murphy if he's been dropped in your leagues. Some people have placed him in IL spots who have him. He is a worthwhile stash. I had him on one league. I've got so many injuries out, I had to let Trey go. There was a decision that I had to make, but he is rostered in 65% of leagues. If someone is struggling who owns him and needs to make a move due to injuries, like I had to in one league, you have to make a call. I managed to pick up a very good player in, I won't say which league this was in. I probably think I did it in 2. But he is a guy that people are just holding onto for dear life because he will play a significant role in the Pelicans when he comes. And he has gone down 2% of ownership in Yahoo in the last couple of days. People get tired of waiting. They get tired of waiting. And even though this comes closer to the return date, what's it going to be? He's going to be eased back into action over time. So this is where when you got a guy like Trey Murphy the third, not the second, don't get confused on your waivers. When you've got Trey Murphy hanging around there, just keep your eye on as he comes closer. 2 or 3 games out, how are you looking for the week? You killing it? Yeah, you are. You feeling a bit ballsy? You want to get a bit risky? Well, you pick up a Trey Murphy the third, you stash him for the week, you write out the rest of those 3 games, you get your win. You maybe lose 1 cat, especially if you're only counting victories, not cats. It's not going to really hurt you long term, especially if you're in a good position in your league. Definitely worthwhile for an ad, especially looking at those ones. Kenrick Williams is a game time decision for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Orlando. Now, they're a little bit interesting in the Orlando Magic right now. Very curious to see what's going on with Markelle Fultz and his knee ailment. Look, he didn't play on Saturday because of that knee tendonitis, and Gary Harris has missed the last ones there. Obviously, Carter Jr. is out until later on in November, and see when he is coming back in there as well. Now, look, Kelly Oubre, as I discussed, is already out for the Philadelphia 76ers, and Pat Bev is a game time decision for them as well. In Phoenix, we've got Eric Gordon, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, all game time decisions. Booker, I'm not sure when we see Devin Booker back this week. The Phoenix Suns have a 3-game week. Maybe he plays 2 of the 3, but it would just like to be consistent. I've seen a couple of trades happen in leagues for Devin Booker. People are giving up a decent player for Devin Booker, but he's kind of got this third week after 3 weeks of the season and being not there consistently. Managers are starting to freak out a little bit. Can you buy Devin Booker just for a little bit lower than you should be able to? And I think the answer is yes, to the right manager. Someone is going to look, if you could offer up maybe a 3rd round pick that's going really well right now for a guy who's a potential 1st, 2nd round pick guy in Devin Booker, maybe you've got a flying 4th round guy right now who's doing really well and provides stats. Look, I wouldn't say 4th round. I'd say definitely in the 3rd round zone. You could move in on Devin Booker, especially if that manager is freaking out. They've lost their first 3 weeks. They thought they had it set. They thought Book was going to be huge this season. The whole point Book thing opposite Beal, and Beal's not going to really be the point guard. It's going to be point Book days. He's going to be amazing. He's a potential MVP candidate. Well, Durant's carrying the team right now. Book hasn't been healthy. You might be able to slide in there and get Booker for a decent player. On to Portland. Absolutely wiped with injuries. Brogdon's listed out as game time decision for this week with hamstring. He has niggling injuries. They may not rush him. Scoot Henderson out until the 26th. Robert Williams out for the season. Anthony Simons not back until mid-December. We'll speak about the guy to pick up there. Skylar Mays in our waiver targets. Trey Lyles and De'Aaron Fox are still out for Sacramento, and Trey Jones is a game-time decision for the San Antonio Spurs. Gary Trent Jr. is still a game-time decision in Toronto, as too is Taylor Hendricks in the Utah Jazz. Out to about the 25th of November, we've got Walker Kessler with his UC, with his elbow, the funny bone. It's not that funny, is it, Walker? Hopefully this explains why the shithouse performances. Hopefully you've got him stashed in an IL spot, as you should by now, ditching someone else. I am hopeful of a better return for him when he comes back healthy in the season. He did look hesitant around the rim. He didn't look to be taking contact. Hopefully this gets sorted. The guy should throw a bloody elbow pad on as well, because I don't think he was wearing one of those half the time. Get himself fixed, get himself back, and watch that burn. Keep your eye on Walker Kessler on your waiver wires, especially this week when people are starting to struggle, and he's been out for a week. So Walker Kessler is owned in 90% of leagues. Good. He should be. But he's gone down 3% of ownership in Yahoo leagues in the last 24 hours, which means people are starting to set up for their week. They're pulling in their picks now, and they're letting guys go. And they're letting guys who aren't performing well, Walker Kessler, tick, or who are injured, Walker Kessler, tick. He ticks two of the boxes that make managers freak out. Like, just clearly they make managers freak out. Oh, he's injured? Oh, and he's shit right now? Cool. Don't want him on my team. Let me move in for a hot free agent who I can burn for 2 or 3 games without the long-term view. Walker Kessler will hopefully come back stronger and better than what he was. Talking about stronger and better than what they were, the Washington Wizards. Will it ever be the case? We never know. It might be 2042 and they may have a winning record. But for now, they're not going to be winning too much this week. And they've got a tough schedule, and they're without Delon Wright, who was an absolute, I won't say a waiver stud, but he was absolutely a showcase piece to bring in there for like the Washington Wizards at times, because he was playing decent basketball. He was able to be good on the waivers, and he can do everything across the board. But that's pretty much the major injuries concern for how to do for your week there. That being said, though, let's move on to, I guess, a bit of a, not a game preview, but let's look at a preview for the week that is ahead.
He's heating up.
Right, let's break it down in very simple lots. The 4-team games, the teams with 4 games this week, the teams with 3 games, and the teams with 2 games. On my list, I've got 4 games: Boston, Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, the Lakers, the Bucks, the Knicks, the Thunder, Orlando, Philadelphia, Portland, Sacramento, and Toronto. All play a 4-game week this week. 3 games are Atlanta, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Denver, Detroit, the Warriors, the Grizzlies, the Heat, the Timberwolves, the Pels, the Suns, the Spurs, the Jazz, and the Wizards. And 2, this is a low-volume week, especially for those owners of Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green and Alperen Şengün, because the Rockets only have 2. Indiana owners, hello Tyrese Halliburton, hello Miles Turner owners, you only have 2 games from your studs there, especially your Benedict Mathurin owners. He's been making a welcome return to form. And the Los Angeles Clippers only have 2 games. Hello Harden, hello Westbrook, hello Paul George, hello Kawhi owners. And especially if you own 2 of those, you are on really low volume for some of your very key players this week. Now, of all of those teams, only based off the strength of their schedule, it doesn't sound good when you say it, but of all of them, the Portland Trailblazers have the best schedule because they play up against Jazz and the Thunder. And now they've got heaps of injuries out there right now. Like they've been decimated by it. They're not very good. They've shown some flashes. DeAndre Ayton has been better as well. But the one guy who has been doing very well for them has been Skylar Mays. Now, Skylar Mays is a pickup. He's an absolute grab, and you watch him go. The other night, set it on. I know in a couple of leagues he's been swooped on. They've converted him to a standard deal because of the injuries over in Portland. His line the other day was 8 from 15, 2 from 2 from the line. He didn't get any threes, which was interesting for his stat line. 2 rebounds. But the 11 assists, that was very impressive. 11 assists is a great booster. 2 steals and only 3 turnovers. That's almost a 4-to-1 turnover ratio for Skylar the other day. Keep him in mind. People are going to be bringing him in there, and especially with a 4-game week. And if he's going to be dishing dimes like that, you bring him in. You bring him in, you roll him out there. Now, it's interesting with the volume days, and we'll break down to the volume games. But if you need assists this week, preload Skylar Mays into your lineup, especially if he's going to be a distributor in this team. With Scoot out, they need it. With Anthony Simons out, they need it. With Brogdon carrying a bit of an injury tag, and it's Brogdon, he's always carrying an injury tag. The reason he didn't get traded to the Clippers, he's a brilliant player, but he gets hurt a lot. Skylar Mays might be a shout this week to help you lock up a couple of cats, especially if he's going to do it on efficient percentages. Yeah, he is a definite add. He is definitely going to make it to the waiver wire target of the week for me, especially with the 4 games. Now, the other guys that are in there, the Bulls have the toughest schedule of all of those, but Kobe White has been around on a lot of waiver wires as well. Now, Kobe White was dropped, but he has been playing decently. I managed to drop him in a league, and I picked him back up in one because he is only rostered in 44% of leagues. But he's been doing better. Now, his last game wasn't as efficient as the previous ones, but the assists have been nice. 6 assists, 7 assists, 5 assists, the last ones. He's been efficient from the free throw line all season long. Like, he knocks down his free throws at an incredibly good rate there. His field goal efficiency is always going to be in question. But I've always stuck by Kobe White and said, look, there is a path for him to get minutes, and there is an opportunity, and he's doing okay. He's rosterable in a 12-team league. If you're in a 14-team league or a 16-team league, God forbid if he's available, what are you doing? In a 14 or a 16-team league, you need to add Kobe White right now. Just add Kobe White. A 12, if there's a guy that's ownable in a 12-team league and he's available in a 14 or a 16-team league, you add the guy immediately. You make that move, check your leagues for Kobe White, especially with the 4-game schedule this week. Now, it is a tougher schedule by strength of opponent because they've got the Magic twice and the Bucks, but the Bucks haven't been good. Who's guarding Kobe White? An injured Damian Lillard, if what Damian Lillard does is defense? Yeah, look, I think that's a good ad for the week. Now, the Raptors play all of their games at home as well, which is a huge win. They have a great home crowd. They don't have to travel. That's a strong schedule for the Raptors. The Knicks and the Magic play their away trips this week. So we're looking at Raptors to bring in Gary Trent Jr. as a game time decision. But if he's back looking for the week ahead, he is a good shout as there. Emmanuel Quickley is on leagues for the New York Knicks. He has been playing well, and he has been rostered only recently. I was actually surprised to see how many leagues that he is available in. Quentin Grimes is also available in a lot of leagues. If you need a streamer and a starting shooting guard, he's not giving you much, but he can chip in by way of some decent percentages and steals. But Emmanuel Quickley is only rostered in 60% of leagues, and he heated up the other day. 470 from the field, 3 3-pointers, 19 points, 5 assists, and a steal. It's what he does. He does points. Cool. He gets you with some assists off the bench. Cool. And he was, for all intents and purposes, one of the 6 men of the year candidates last year. He has a role in this team. He is an excellent stream target. Keep your eyes on Emmanuel Quickley during the course of this coming week. Now, I guess the guys here we've got to be talking about as well for the New Orleans Pelicans, we're moving to our 3 games, is Jordan Hawkins, was the guy who stepped into the role very, very well in the past week with CJ McCollum going down. There's other guys who are very interesting to me in that team to give me some additional stats. Valanciunas is around in a lot of leagues. If you need a center and some dependable percentages, he's been playing very well. You can roll him out there on your game week. Dyson Daniels is a target during the course of these ones. Now, of all of these guys, the Spurs have the best schedule of the 3-game week, guys. They play against the Thunder, the Kings, and the woeful Memphis Grizzlies. Now, the Thunder is going to be a tough matchup. In fact, I actually think the Thunder versus the Spurs game is going to be one of the games of the week. We get Chet versus Wemby, 2 young teams who are making waves in the NBA head-to-head. Like, that is just going to be a fun game to watch. Streaming-wise, Trey Jones is a game-time decision. If he sits out, he comes back. You can get some assists on the side there. No really streaming options, I would be saying or calling in a game like this for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But we're keeping our eyes on what happens over the course of the week. The Wizards, look, they've got those games this week. They've got a brutal schedule this week as well, and they already suck. The Jazz, the Warriors, the Hornets, and the Pels, now they play 3 games at home this week, a part of this schedule, while the Timberwolves are away. Just a bit of a word warning. when we do this as well, when we look at the schedule, we need to look at the strength of the day. So let's have a look at the games of the breakdown and how they fall by way of days for this week. Now, Monday, there's 4 NBA games. Tuesday, 10. Wednesday, 8. Thursday, 2. Friday, 11. Saturday, 6. And Sunday, 9. This is a little bit better than the 14 game days where all but 2 teams play with the travel down to Mexico. Bit better than the 12 game days. But again, you can see that there's this inconsistency in volume of days, which means to try and target anyone on the waiver wire on the Tuesday or the Friday becomes difficult because you've already got those roster spots filled. Some of the keys then become to who could you get in your roster for Thursday and Saturday or Monday and Wednesday when you have a little bit of flexibility. It's all great to roll out a guy there for back-to-backs and be like, oh, I'm going to get this guy because he's on a back-to-back set. And there are 16 back-to-backs this week. Now, that's great. But what days are they playing? Well, a lot of them play the Tuesday and the Wednesday, and the Tuesday is a 10-game day. That doesn't make sense for you because why do you want to stream a guy? Keep your guy in your roster. Who can you look at then for maybe Wednesday and Thursday? Wednesday and Thursday, oh yeah, that's great. Let me get a guy in like that. Yeah, well, there's none. There are no teams this week that with the lower volume days of the 16 teams and the 4 teams that play on Thursday, there's no one with the back-to-back. So you've got to be tactical. The best way to do that would be a Thursday and Saturday split. So if you're looking for the Thursday and a Saturday split, you can do that one. Now, there's other guys to pick up over the week. If you've got some Sundays, you can get some guys in on your Sunday roster spot as well. So look, let's pace this out as it goes. If you're looking at it this way, if you've got some roster spots that are available, you've got the Friday and the Saturday. Now, these guys here you want to look at probably are Grant Williams, I would say, and some of them Dallas Mavericks blokes. One guy that I'm really high on bigger than Grant Williams right now has been Derrick Jones Jr. I have been absolutely loving what he's been doing. There's other guys with an opportunity that's come up for the Memphis Grizzlies. They're in this spot as well. Luke Kennard's back. If you need threes, and if you're in a league that monitors 3-point percentage, Luke Kennard, one of the best shooters in the NBA, he's going to be on your waiver wire as well. Other guy in there as well, obviously he's come back, and with Xavier Tillman being injured and coming in, Bismack Biyombo. Bismack is still around in a lot of leagues. He is a good streaming target for field goal percentage. He's not a very good free throw shooter. Keep that in mind. Skitty was high on it the other day. And your block shots. You want to roll out those guys. Look, you can either get in some OKC Thunder blokes. The only guy there I'm really looking at maybe is the taller Jalen Williams if you need some center numbers, or a case on Wallace in that regard. Otherwise, you're looking at maybe you could even get back to the Grizzlies with someone like Zaire, or in the Dallas Mavericks after those guys like Grant Williams. You're looking at points and threes in their spacing system. You're probably looking and then rolling out Tim Hardaway Jr., who's been playing very well this season off the ball. It's also been just of note of the Mavericks. Kyrie is playing better, and that's been good to watch. The kind of buy low window on Kyrie is almost done at this point in time. So you kind of want to bring in those guys to help buoy you on that set, because you're not going to get away with it a lot. You can probably look on the volume day of Sunday to look who you could roll out Sunday and Monday the week after. Now, the Sunday, Monday guys are the Celtics, the Nuggets, the Pistons, the Rockets, and the Kings. So after that Saturday, you're going to look who you can look for the week ahead. So can you drop your worst guy on that 9-game day, someone who's not really giving you a bunch of bones right now, and then tactically pivot into the Monday of the following week? You absolutely could. And that's where you start to look at guys like Reggie Jackson, with Jamal Murray being out. You maybe look at KCP, who's around on a lot of waivers intermittently these days. In the Celtics, look, Hauser's been around. He's been doing decent minutes. The Pistons, Jaden Ivey. Killian Hayes, God forbid, is still around that time next week. Jaden Ivey, Sasa. One of these guys is going to get the opportunity. If someone's out, you've got to find the hot hand in Detroit, because Monty Williams inevitably seems to be riding them right now. The Rockets, keeping our eye on guys like Tara Eason, seeing how he's coming back to action and the minutes that he's going to get right now. And the Sacramento Kings, big one, Keegan Murray. Now, I am really interested in the Kings this week. He had an absolutely blistering day the other day. Keegan Murray played lights out. Now, Keegan Murray has been dropped in a lot of leagues. I was high on Keegan Murray going forward this season, having a bit more of a show and doing more. He was dropped in so many leagues, it was ridiculous. And I've just had a look around. He's been added back and dropped from waivers so many times. And one bloke I know, Mick Dell, picked him up in my own personal friends and family league. Shout out to the big horse. Oh, if I say the big horse, I've got to probably play the soundbite, don't I? I can't not shout him out and say it. Where is it? Here we go. They absolutely needed him, and he picked him up on Saturday after his huge game, and he put up 24 points. He was perfect from the line, 470 from the field, 3 threes, 24 points, 11 rebounds, an assist, 3 steals, and a block. Now, the 3 turnovers for Keegan, not great. He doesn't need to do that, but he's gone down 3%. He's gone down 3% after that performance, and it doesn't make any sense. He's rostered in 80% of leagues, but then he's gone down 3%. Which makes no sense on the back of that performance. In a team that doesn't have De'Aaron Fox, why would you drop him after that performance? These are the things that you want to look for. When other managers make mistakes in your league, you want to look to capitalize on this one. But you could say, Matt, they don't play that many games this week. Yeah, they do. They play 4 games this coming week. Without De'Aaron Fox, the Sacramento Kings need all the help they can get. Kevin Huerter is definitely a stream option by way of design. So if you look at that one, yeah, Kevin Huerter becomes a must plug and play guy in this point in time. But again, is it going to help you on the games with the high volume days? Look to stream in and look to stream out. The Friday, Saturday is another back. So we'll go through the back-to-backs for the whole week. On Monday and Tuesday, there's none, and there's only the 4 games on the Monday. The Tuesday and the Wednesday, you got the Hawks, the Mavs, the Lakers, the Wolves, the Magic, Philadelphia, and the Trailblazers. As I said, there's no one on Wednesday and Thursday, and there's none on Thursday and Friday. However, that's what we're targeting in the teams with the Thursday and the Saturday schedule. Guys from Oklahoma City Thunder, guys from the Dallas Mavericks are probably the ones there. The Thunder, the Grizzlies, and the Mavs are the 3 key targets there. The Friday, Saturday back-to-back, again, Friday has 11 games, Saturday 6. So 6 is a good Saturday stream day. You've got the Hornets, the Bulls, the Bucks, the Pels, the Knicks, and the Spurs. And on Saturday and Sunday, you've got the Mavs, the Grizzlies, and the Thunder on that back-to-back to finish the week. So this is where you bring in those guys for the Saturday and Sunday after they play that Thursday game, and you can bring them back in for the back-to-back schedule for the Mavs, the Grizzlies, and the Thunder. That makes more tactical sense than to waste that. On the Friday and the Saturday, you might not get Trey Jones out there on the Friday. Do you pick him up for the Saturday straight away? Yeah, you do. Get some extra assists in. Get that usage, depending on when your ads are set in your league. Drop him off in the car park, and then you can pick on for your Sunday and your Monday, possibly looking to get someone from the Celtics, the Nuggets, the Pistons, or the Rockets. Or if you can do a same day, drop an ad for the next day, bring in a Sunday guy. Bring in one of these other guys that you want to bring into your team and set your week up nicely on the back of that one. Those have been the keys to help win your week. You want to look into stream other guys throughout the course of the week with a lot of action. These guys that play on that. The key here is to look for guys who you can bring into that. All right, looking at the week ahead, we want to chop it up like this. Monday, there's 4 games. Tuesday, there's 10 games. Wednesday, there's 8. Thursday, there's 2. Friday, 11. Saturday, 6. And on Sunday, 9. Now, you might say, Matty, when are the back-to-backs this week? When am I going to get good back-to-back action? Well, none on Monday and Tuesday, none on Wednesday and Thursday, and none on Thursday and Friday. You can't use that one stream spot to get 2 games out of it for those 2 days because they don't exist this week. And in fact, it's really interesting. Of all the games this week, the Warriors, Heat, and Thunder play Thursday and Saturday. Now, that's key. Why? Because Thursday and Saturday are low-volume days. Thursday, there's 2 games. Saturday, there's 6 games. So you're going to have an open roster spot. With 11 games on Friday, you've already probably at max spots on your roster, and a guy is going to have to get benched anyway. So why do you want to bring in a guy for a Friday and Saturday back-to-back from a Hornet, a Bull, a Buck, a Pelicans, or a Knicks, or a Spurs guy when you're not going to be able to get that same usage out of them? Why? You don't do it. And that's important for a reason. You want to bring in those Thursday and Saturday guys. So of those teams, as I said, we're looking for guys from the Warriors, the Heat, and the Thunder. Now, those guys, if we're thinking about it, obviously on the Warriors, we're talking Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Dario Saric. He has been playing really, really well for them. Chris Paul has been dropped in leagues. I don't know why. I mean, he's been inconsistent at times and he's not shooting the ball well, but it's Chris Paul. Bring him in. If he's around in your league, get him into your squad. Again, it's Chris Paul. And he'll be more consistent over time. And again, he continues to be a guy that has dropped religiously around leagues. And I have no ideas why. In fact, this was a very quick little look I did the other day. I was like, I wonder how many leagues Chris Paul's been in. Well, he's been dropped in 2% of leagues. And it's because of the inefficiencies. And that's fine, but he's still getting you the steals and he's still getting you the assists. And it's Chris Paul. I'm not saying there's a sentimental spot for him, but you can bring him in and definitely put him into these positions where you can get those games. Otherwise, you're relying on the other Warriors guys like Moody, Kuminga, and Saric. If you're looking at Heat guys, especially with the injury right now to Tyler Hero, look, Duncan Robinson, Josh Richardson's going to get a bunch of those minutes. Haysmith, Kyle Lowry, these are the guys you probably want to be looking at around there. And in the Thunder, there's no one really standing out off the bench right now. Look, if you need a big, you can probably get some Jalen Williams minutes, but Kayson Wallace seems to be playing well and establishing himself in a role there for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that's about it for those guys. But if you've got a spot on the Sunday, look to the back-to-back that you can bring into the Monday for the week after. So this is where that gets a little bit interesting because you could go for the Saturday and the Sunday spot. So that's an interesting split. The Saturday and the Sunday, guys, are the Mavericks, the Grizzlies, and the Thunder. So if you can milk that position out and you can get someone else in for the Mavs, the Grizz, or the Thunder, again, that's where Kayson comes into the conversation. You can look for Mavericks. So guys like Grant Williams, Tim Hardaway, and Derek Jones Jr., the floor spacers, the other guys who are getting really good opportunities to knock down shots and play their roles this season. Also, Derek Lively, he's about the place. He's around in a lot of leagues. So Derek Lively the second, because the first one wasn't that good, he's only rostered in 49% of Yahoo leagues, which means he's around there. Now, he's been inefficient at times, but still, he can put up big numbers. So if you're chasing those center stats, if you're looking for the rebounds and some blocks, Derek Lively becomes one of those really important assets to look for with that Mavericks team on the Saturday and the Sunday. That's an important play you could do right there. Bring in guys like even Joshy Green, possibly, or if you're going to tactically go into one of the Grizzlies guys, I don't know why we want the Grizzlies guys that much. They're not performing that well, but look, you can get value out of them. Bismack Biyombo, Zaire Williams playing well, Santi Aldama, Luke Kennard by way of threes. These are guys who you can pivot into for that Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. And if you're setting yourself up really strong and you've got that edge that you need to win your week, think about the Sunday to lock it down and move into your Monday. This is where you're looking at your Celtics, your Nuggets, your Pistons, your Rockets, and your Kings. Now, the Kings already are on a 4-game week. They finished the 4-game week, and then they go into the back-to-back on the Monday, which means they're not going to be playing a lot of games next week. But this is where Keegan Murray comes into play. Keegan Murray has been playing incredibly well his last game, and he's always going to do better. He was going to do better, Keegan Murray. I wanted good things for Keegan this season. I think he's integral to the success of the Sacramento Kings. And he was ditched on a lot of waiver wires. He was not playing very well at all. He started to find some rhythm at the beginning of the season. He dropped off. His field goal percentage has been erratic. It's actually been pretty horrendous, to be fair. But he had a good bounce back game the other day. 470 from the field, 100% from the free throw line, three threes, 24, 11, an assist, 3 steals, and a block. They're very good numbers. Don't like the 3 turnovers from him in this position, but still, they need something in Sacramento to buoy the team while De'Aaron Fox is out. Look no further than one Mr. Keegan Murray, because he has upside in this team. Kevin Huerter has upside in this team. Like Malik Monk has got upside in this team until De'Aaron Fox is out. So you can look to stream in those guys because the Kings, those blokes can score. In the Pistons, Killian Hayes is still available in 50% of leagues. Like Killian Hayes is still around. And if you want to pivot yourself during the course of this week to get him onto your team, there's nothing wrong with it. They've got a 3-game week. So you use him for the 2 games. And is he worth a while for now? Yeah. Now, Jaden Ivey's back. Alec Burks will be coming back very soon. Is it going to be the same for Killian? Look, time will tell. I've been burned by him before. But then at the same time, when Cade went down last season, I dropped Cade. I picked up Killian straight away because I had nothing better to do with my time. And he played well until he didn't. And then I found someone else who was good and I put him on my team. And that's how you manage your fantasy roster. And right now he's playing really well. And in a 12-team league, he's almost worth a spot in a 10-team league at this point in time. It's just not sustainable. 12-team, yeah, stream him in. 14 or 16-team, keep him. Keep him for the time being and for as long as you can, because he's been playing well enough to 100% be rostered in a 14 or 16-team league. But this is curious. When I look at how often, like where he is rostered and how much he is rostered, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense that he's rostered in 53% of leagues. I would say that's almost every 10-man league, most 12s, every 16, every 14, a lot of 12s, and he's available in 10s. God forbid he's available in a 14 or a 16-team league. Just check, because if he is, you should be that owner. And just tweet me at NBAGWiz and like, hey, Matty, you're not going to believe it. I just found Killian Hayes on my waiver, put a claim, and I got him because someone must have dropped him and they're an idiot. Or he was just sitting there and someone wasn't paying attention to the NBA. That's what you need to do to pivot into those roster spots really hard. I'll be back on Tuesday night with Mally. We'll be back down for that show. It's called The Pickup. I hope you picked up some knowledge for the week, and a huge... And that about does us going through the games for the week. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I have. I'll be back on this show with Matty next Sunday, but you can catch me next on Tuesday with Matthew Malley for The Pickup. Take care soon. And I guess that about wraps it from me. I will catch you on Tuesday night for The Pickup with Matty Malley, and I'll be back on this show again with Matty next week for the Chase Down. We have a huge show also coming up. It's a surprise. We'll put it out on our socials very, very soon. But until then, you take care all. Peace. Now, before we get down to business, I do want to make a special announcement. We have a brand new sponsor here on the pod. Bonus Bank is Australia's #1 matched betting site, and they are now on board with us. Now, match betting is Australia's most profitable side hustle. You can take advantage of bookmaker bonus bets and promotions to make a risk-free, like just such a low-risk, tax-free income every week. With the help of Bonus Bank's tutorials and tools, you can start making your first profit by finding edges like enhanced odds, sign-up bonuses, and money-back action today. Now, it is absolutely free to join and make your first $75, which is great. But for less than $2 a day, you can upgrade to a premium account and unlock 12 courses that cover all aspects of match betting and advanced promo strategies to help you make your buck go further. The best thing about that is if you use promo code INSIGHT, you'll get 25% off your first month to any of their premium subscriptions. So use INSIGHT, get yourself 25% off your first month and start making some coin. To learn how bonus bets work and convert them easily into cash with Bonus Bank, get involved today because their members can earn up to $2,500 in the first 2 months with low, risk-free investments by following the tutorials. Use promo code INSIGHT, get your premium Bonus Bank account today.